Hello, this is Marina. Do not listen to this recording while driving. Go ahead and just find a really nice place where you can be undisturbed for maybe the next 15 minutes and sit down and take this time to relax. And this audio is going to be a little bit different. This is about filing all those memories in the right spaces in your brain. And before we get into it, just want to take a few moments so that you can be in that really relaxed space where you can receive this information and do some good work. So you can choose to close your eyes now, or you can close your eyes whenever you want to close your eyes. It's completely up to you. And you can drop your shoulders a little bit and open that mouth slightly to let your jaw relax. Wiggle those fingers and those toes, just getting that last bit of energy out. Maybe gently moving your head from side to side. And as you hear the sound of my voice, you might hear other noises and sounds, and that's okay, because you can just let all of those other noises and sounds take you deeper into your experience. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose, and then slowly let it all out of your mouth. And I want you to do this maybe 10 or 15 more times, finding a nice rhythm of breathing in slowly and breathing out even slower. And as your conscious mind hears the words that I'm saying, your unconscious mind can decide what's important, or your unconscious mind can hear the words that I'm saying, and your conscious mind can decide what's important. And what's really interesting about hypnosis is that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And that means that when you hear the words that I'm saying, your brain takes those words, and then depending on everything that's happened to you in your life, you'll hear those words in a certain way, and then you might act on them. And you know hypnosis can't make you do anything that you don't want to do, because you're always in complete control of yourself. And where I want to take you now is going to be really interesting, and maybe you'll follow along with this story. But we're going to count down from 10 to 1 and just allow yourself to go deeper into relaxation with each number. Then maybe take a breath in, and with every exhale, with each number, you find yourself going deeper. On 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And right now we're going to imagine that our brain is like a computer. And just like a computer, there are different ways the computer functions. And our body and our brains function similarly. We've got the operating system, which we don't even mess with, it just runs. So that's allowing your lungs to breathe your heart to beat, your blood to flow, and all the other chemicals and things going on, the nervous system and the digestive system that allow you to live. So we're not going to mess with that because it works just fine on its own. And then there's a part of the hard drive, which is that long-term storage. So these are other files that keep the computer going, that you could get into if you wanted to, but you really don't access because they're a little harder to get to. And I consider these things like personality traits. And some of these things you've been born with, and others you've learned and developed just through your own self, but through the caregivers you've had and everything around you. And then this is where it gets really tricky, because the next part of the computer in your brain are all the files, which is everything that's input. And everything that's been input from the time you were born is mostly external stimuli. And then just like you don't get to pick your parents or what geographical region you were born into, those things just come, and from the time you're born, you're literally taking in everything. And everything is not always beneficial for you, but it gets taken in anyway. And as you get older, depending on your environment and those caregivers, there's even more input. And what gets even more interesting is that input gets parsed out into other files. So maybe you learned that when you cried, somebody would pick you up and your needs were met. So you would file that away. But someone else might cry and is left alone, and they file that away. And you can see how it goes. But the truth is that information is always changing, and our lives change, and things change. And so you might have been a baby that didn't get their needs met. But that doesn't mean that you'll never get your needs met. And you may have a factory setting on that tells you won't get your needs met. But that's not true. Because you're not stuck with the same people you were born to. You have agency and ability to change the people you surround yourself with. And likewise, the computer system in your brain is better than any other computer, because not only can you take in new information, you can learn and change new information. So understanding that there are different parts of this system, there's a way that we can go through and just put everything in its place. And what's interesting is that you're going to be able to do that. And it's going to take some imagination, because it's a really big job. And just like your computer, to go through all those files can take a really long time. And so I want you to imagine now in front of you a blank screen. And that blank screen can be anywhere. It can be in front of you, to the side of you, or I'm not sure where. But on that blank screen, you're going to notice 3 knobs that are going to come up. And the knob on the left is the operating system. The knob in the middle is the hard drive. And the knob on the right is the input. And I want you to focus on the knob on the left. And then I want you to take your time right now. And I want you to turn that all the way to the right. And when you felt like you can just hear it click, when it's gone all the way to the right, you'll have set that operating system to what's best for you, which means that everything will function to your greatest good. And then now we're going to move over to that middle button. And this one takes the longest. So as you go ahead and just turn that middle button all the way to the right until it clicks, I'm going to let you know what's happening. Remember all of those memories and patterns I talked about? It's going to begin parsing out the memories from the lesson. So for instance, maybe you touched your hand on a hot stove and you learned that it was hot. You don't need to relive that memory of burning your hand again. You can just have that lesson of not putting your fingers on a hot stove. And what's really interesting is that you have this overriding agency. Like for instance, if you were to think about that right now, you could just say, okay, I got the lesson. And as you breathe out, just let that memory fall back into that spot. You have the power to control your thoughts. And so now, let's move over to that far right knob, which is the input. And as you turn this input knob to the right, all the way until it clicks, you'll be setting it on that setting that's going to allow future input to come in to a space where you'll be able to breathe and access that information and know that it'll be put in the right place. And this is something you're going to remember, is that whenever you feel overwhelmed or stressed, you'll begin to touch your thumb to your finger, recall that happy memory, and take 3 nice deep breaths in very slowly and let them out even slower. And you'll notice you've begun a new reaction, which is going to set everything in motion for this new operating system. And the good news is, it's a system that keeps learning. So there might be a file here and there that could get out, but you'll be able to tell it, that's okay, I've got the lesson. You can go back in storage and just blow it back there. And then you'll be able to select another thought from your memory that's a little bit happier, and knowing that you can just have 3 minutes of distraction with breathing and thoughts to go somewhere else. And one more thing for you to know before we completely close this up is that all emotions and feelings are only temporary. No one is ever stuck in any one state of emotion. And if you allow yourself to breathe and feel those emotions, they get processed quicker and go to the right place. Because while it might feel like it, no one has ever died from emotion. And you can know that right now, as you sit here listening to the sound of my voice, you've survived absolutely everything up to this point. And that's some feat. And so I want you to take 3 really nice deep breaths now, knowing you've done some good work, and that you can go back out into the world knowing that you're ready for anything because you're a survivor. So begin to wiggle those fingers and toes, maybe stretching out those arms and legs, taking another nice, bigger, energetic breath in through your nose and letting it all out of your mouth, opening your eyes and knowing that there is always another way.